We're 10 minutes into the trading day. Let's take a quick look to see how we're faring, and looking pretty good, up 0.7% on the Dow Jones. That's up around 130 points. We'll check in on the markets a little later, but for now we head to South Africa. Now, drones are big business here in the US, and they are now starting to take off in Africa. The uses are vast, from the mining industry to agriculture as well as forestry. Chris Clark is the CEO of the South African-based commercial drone operator Rocketmine. He now joins me live from Johannesburg. Hi there, Chris. Great to have you on. And you're expecting around $1 million worth of revenue this year. Tell me a little bit about your business model, and tell me how much demand you're seeing on the ground.
Afternoon, Eleni. Well, what is actually just, I guess, so unique about our particular business at Rocketmine, we've kind of taken the approach of being a low-cost carrier airline, but instead of transporting people, we're transporting data, and it's all about getting the sort of the decision makers to get their data in their hands as fast as possible. Our focus is predominantly on Africa and other emerging markets, and we own the largest fleet in Africa, so it's quite some exciting times.
Well, tell me about your client base. What kind of companies are you working with, and what solutions do they want?
So predominantly our customer base is a lot around sort of the enterprise and corporate, so like Anglo-Americans, the South 32s, the BHPs, and they've got three things which are really, really quite important to them in the use of a drone technology. Number one is around the cost factor. The kind of the commodity cycle where it is at the moment. I mean, we're coming at half the price of what manned aircraft is coming out at. The second thing, and Eleni, you might even like this from your little hometown of Witbank. If you think about safety is a big factor. You've got these massive big sort of stockpiles which are 30 meters or 90 feet big, and the traditional methods have always been about giving a guy a GPS stick and telling him to walk over those stockpiles. Now what we're doing is much safer. We're flying it from a distance way up above, and sort of collecting it. The third most important for our customers is around the data. Previously, before, they were getting their data once a month. Now they're getting it every single day. And we kind of put that very similar in a business context of around, well, instead of just taking a monthly stock take, you're now starting to look at it like your car sort of engine, looking at sort of the fuel consumption and the efficiencies within the business. So it's definitely is sort of empowering business more than it used to.
Okay, very quickly, tell me about the regulatory environment. How are you getting around regulation? I mean, now that drones are taking off across Africa, how are you dealing with cross-border issues? And I'm also curious, I mean, when you look at the likes of commercial drone delivery in Africa, how are you going to get around that? Because that's also a fantastic opportunity.
So Rocketmine is licensed in terms of the local South African Civil Aviation Authority, and what you're finding is that across Africa, and in contrast to sort of the FAA regulations, that we're becoming, it's becoming a lot more acceptable as sort of airlines. So you're finding is in the rest of Africa, it's becoming a lot more profitable sort of business, because we got less risks up in the skies. We don't have as many sort of manned aircraft planes up in the air as what the US and Europe do, and we're able to sort of take opportunities and run with them as quickly as what they're doing in the US. We've clocked, since we got our license in October, we've got over 1,400 hours. Now, there's no other operators in Australia or even the US who've got similar kind of hours as well. So Africa is really the place where drone technology is practically taking off.
Chris, thank you so very much for that update. Chris Clark, live from South Africa, in fact, sitting in the very studio that I'm usually in.